Hello, and welcome to the first ever Ideas podcast. This has been highly anticipated, as you all know, and here we're just going to spotlight and take a look at young hustlers, people who are either students or work corporate, who had something on the side that was rather interesting. So let's just jump right into it.
All right, hi everyone. So this is Harvey, and we have Austin today with us. So Austin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, I hate that question. But yeah, I'll start with that. No, it's like always, you know what I mean? It's like an icebreaker question.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, I'm a junior or rising senior at San
Uh,
Jose State in economics with a minor in math. And I guess like I'll talk about my relevant background for this podcast, which
uh-huh.
is like basically I've run a lot of like business projects in the past. Like
Mm-hmm.
some have been lucrative and some have been failures, but
Mm-hmm.
I just had a lot of experience in like software and just like random kind of ventures too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All right. So I personally actually know Austin. So
yeah.
let's talk a little bit about like something more interesting. Because I know you play poker, right? I know you play poker, and that's like a very interesting thing to me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, poker is like I wouldn't say that that was like the most interesting like venture that I had worked
Oh
on.
wow, we got lots of stuff today then.
Because poker is just like a game, right? Like it's
Uh-huh.
not like okay, well there is one thing I could share,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Can we talk about like? All right, I'll just talk about it. Whatever.
Yeah. Let's
So
open up. Let's
this
open
is
up a
like
little bit.
I mean, since you brought up poker, I did think of something that's very relevant to that,
Uh-huh.
and I'll like mention something. It's kind of a gray area in terms of like
Uh,
legality, but like I mean, I'm sure it's fine. 'Cause it
I
was
mean,
like so many years ago.
don't worry
Anyway.
about it. We're 18 plus totally.
That's what I'm saying. 18 plus, so
Yeah.
there's no kids listening. It's not a bad influence. Um, but when I went to school, before I came to San Jose State, I was going to school in the East Coast in New
Mm-hmm.
York. It's called Binghamton University. It's a SUNY school, so it's like a state University of New York school,
Uh-huh.
basically. Right, I was going for business, but I've been playing poker for a while. Like I've been playing poker since I was maybe in high school, like freshman in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So when
So were you good at it?
I wouldn't say I was good. I like won money, but I don't think I was ever very
So you
good.
started playing
Even
with
now, I
money.
don't think I'm very good.
So you already started playing with money in high school.
Yeah, yeah, we were gambling like in high school, and then in college, like there was like a poker club, and we got to meet like, you know, when you do something, you kind of like come into a community of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like we came into a community of people who were like hardcore poker players. They were playing like
I see.
we were playing. I wouldn't say like high stakes poker at like 19 or 20, but we were like playing high stakes for college students, like you know, $200, $300 buy-in,
I
which is
see.
like
Per game.
yeah, per game, which is not high stakes by any means. Like high stakes in real life is like $10,000 buy-in, but for like college students, like every night, I think that's like a lot of money. You know, like relative to how much we're making, which is like $0. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
Like we don't
Yeah.
have salaries, right? We're just
Yeah.
like students. Um, but what I was trying to get to was, have you ever watched the movie Molly's Game?
Actually, no.
No, have you heard of the movie?
No.
It's about this like it's based off a true story. It's about this Olympic skier, and she opens up like a high stakes like underground poker ring in LA and New
Uh-huh.
York. So when I was in New York, like me and my friends had a lot of exposure to like underground games, and we actually for a few months actually hosted our own underground game for a bit, which was actually pretty lucrative.
Wow.
So that like maybe that's what you wanted to hear about, right?
Yeah, no, because no, the thing I want to hear about is like I heard you mention this once that you have like 100% profit rate on like poker games. Like you always make money on poker, and sometimes
Yeah,
like even in five
that's
digits.
yeah, that's different though. That's not really a venture that I'm working. That's
Really?
just like a personal. Yeah, that's like something I'm just doing in the summer. Like, I mean, I could talk about that too.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that is basically. I'll break it down really short.
Uh-huh.
And like in casino, right? There's like a house edge, right? Like that's why casinos make money, like Las Vegas.
Mm.
Like they don't keep the lights on because it's not profitable, right? Like they keep the lights on because everyone who bets has a statistical disadvantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you're flipping a coin 51% to 49%,
Mm-hmm.
and the casino always has a 51%. Then if you remember from stats class, right? Then over, let's say you bet $100, then the casino's gonna make $51. You can make $49.
Oh, I see.
Or I didn't do that right, but basically they have a 2% advantage over you, 51 versus 49. So they're making $2 per $100 bet.
So no matter what, like they always like take partially of the profit. Like
In
no
the
matter
long
who
in the
wins.
long run, because if you flip a coin that's 51% heads, and 49% tails, right? Like you always have an edge, like 51%.
It's not
It
50
doesn't mean that you'll win every single round, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean like after 10 rounds you win every single round, but it means after like 10,000 rounds it like converge to like an expected value, right?
I see.
Expected return. So that's what casinos are based off of. Long story short, in California, in the state of California, you can play as the house because of like this weird loophole. So recently, just past few months, I've been playing as the house at like Matrix Casino at the airport or next to the airport, right? So you can play as the house, and it's like guaranteed profit.
So you made your money by hosting, not by playing.
Yeah, so in New York, which was like, I thought personally like one of the cooler things, like the really fun things that I did back in the East Coast was like host poker games, like for people, like locals and like business owners and stuff like that.
I see. So
Yeah.
what are like some of the numbers like people coming to you, like do they play at around like $100 level, like $1,000 level?
Yeah, so I can break down like the business model, and what I was gonna say, as I mentioned before, like I was playing so much poker, right? So me and my friends, we were going to these. There's a Native American reservation in New York, about like an hour and a half away from our college. So instead of going to class, we are just like gambling all the time.
Oh
like,
man.
And so we just drive up, and then we'd either book a hotel or we'd gamble enough where we'd get casino comps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, if you play a lot in Vegas, they like give you reward cards and stuff. So we were playing enough where they were just giving us like hotel rooms. But we're playing poker, and we had learned how to count cards too. So we're playing blackjack and we're playing poker. And since we were going so often, like we actually kind of like saw the business model, like we saw like their operations, and we were like, okay, so it's really simple. Like they do this is where they make their money. Like why can't we do the same thing just without a gaming license? Like we rent an apartment, like a nice loft in downtown
Oh, I see.
Binghamton, and then we just invite all the poker players we know because we already know all these poker players, right? And
What's the advantage of like you hosting a game versus like they going to like a formal casino?
because the casino's an hour and a half away. There were no casinos that
Oh.
were in the city, and like we were plugged into like the fraternities, and like all the people were playing poker all the time. And so what we did was we pooled our money together, and then we like rented like a 2-story loft. And this is not an expensive area. So here, a place like that would probably cost like $6,000 a month or something. But in this city, it was like $1,500 a month for like 2,000 square feet, like granite countertops, like super fancy, like loft, right? So we rented that, and we got like tables, poker tables, blackjack tables, and yeah, and then we made some good money on that for a few months.
Do you mind share like how much money you made like per month on that? Because like you
Uh,
mentioned like you cost about like a 1,500 per month to rent it, right?
Yeah, it costs 15. So yeah, you're already getting down to like you're already thinking about the business model, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the cost, and the biggest cost of any business, whether you're a restaurant or wherever, is always like fixed costs, right? Like fixed expenses like rent,
Absolutely.
and then like variable costs, or that might be a fixed expense actually, which is like salaries.
Mhm.
So we hired our friends to deal, and then we had just like we paid rent, which was the 1,500. But roughly, the business model, which I'll describe, is what all casinos do. And so on poker, what it is every hand, like for anyone who's not familiar with poker, like you're betting a certain amount. Like everyone's like betting. Let's say Harvey, you bet $5, and then I want to continue. I say I have a better hand, so
Mhm.
either I can put in $10, or I can like also put the $5 in. Like I match your $5, right?
Mhm.
Like I call, right?
Yeah, I played poker before.
Yeah, you play poker. I'm just saying for anyone who doesn't know poker.
Absolutely, yeah.
So like everyone's wagering money on the table. All the casino does is that they take like a few dollars out of the pot every hand. So let's say you win the hand, right? The pot is $100. The casino gives you $98. That's it. Very simple.
They
So
always take it. Yeah.
they take a percentage of the pot in poker. And so on roughly the numbers are with the automated shuffler, a casino deals about 20 hands per hour. Okay.
How
so,
many customers were you having at that time?
Wait, I'll get to that. But
Okay.
So a casino deals 20 hands per hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And each hand they're raking. They call it poker rake. They rake roughly $3 to $4 per hand. So that's $80 per hour, right? Revenue, and then you pay a dealer roughly like maybe minimum wage because they make a tip every hand too. So you pay them like 12. Back then in New York it was probably like $10 to $11 per hour. So the casino is making roughly 70 per hour. That's the model for poker.
I see. So like about like how many customers were you having? Because you said that all your friends, right?
Yeah, a lot of friends and then friends of friends, and then we started attracting like kind of like some, I would say like sketchy people.
Oh, I
They
see.
were really cool people, like they're the friendliest people ever, but a lot of people who like have the money to gamble like every single day, like they just like maybe get their money from like non like legitimate means, right? But it was just like friends of friends, friends of friends of friends, and we
Mm-hmm.
just like put the word out there. But we had like a client list of at least 50 people because a poker game's like 10 seats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we needed at least, I would say, like 6 times that amount to say that we wanted to fill the table at least every single night that we were operating. And we filled it every single night we were
Could you be a
operating.
little bit closer because the mic is
Sure,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll sit a little closer. But we wanted to fill it like every night we were operating. So we probably had 50, 60 people, and we were filled. We operated maybe 3 nights a week. We had one blackjack table and one poker table.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this like illegal? Like, do you mind I ask? Because like you said, this is like some kind of gray area, and I
I
feel like you just
mean,
opening your own
so
casino.
hypothetically, right? Like, if anyone had done this,
Uh-huh.
then it is illegal. It's certainly illegal.
Just a loophole.
It's not a loophole. It's like 100% illegal.
Oh.
Yeah.
So technically, there's like no punishment if they find out. If the police finds out.
I mean, there's like a statute of limitations on, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, it depends on how fictional or like non-fictional like the story is, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. So you get what I'm saying. But basically, yeah, it is like kind of it is, I would say, operating a gaming establishment without a gaming license is like questionable.
Mm. Do your customer like trust you?
Yeah.
I think that's the
course.
biggest thing.
Yeah,
Like,
they trust me. They trusted me, past tense.
are you still doing this thing, or did
No,
you
no, no.
totally get
That was
behind
like
it?
way back when, back in the day,
I see.
Yeah. you know,
Do you mind like how back in the day? Like back in the day.
like super far back.
Okay, so was that like
when I was younger, back in my younger days.
Alright, do you like was that like your primary source of income back then?
Did it cut out?
We're good.
Good?
You're good.
Alright.
Yeah.
Was that the primary source of your income?
No, that was just like a venture. Like we were just like, see, this is the thing I like about business. It's
Mhm.
like you have a group of people who like specialize, like domain expertise, right? In this case, we had domain expertise in a gaming establishment. We knew all the numbers. We ran all the numbers on an Excel sheet. The model made sense, and then when we ran it, all the numbers like checked out to what we had calculated. So, all it took was like one person to go like, "Hey, you know, it'd be really cool if we did this. Like, wouldn't that be like crazy cool?" And we're like, "Yeah, hell yeah, that would be awesome." Like running underground casino, you know what I mean? And then it happened. Like it wasn't even about the profit. Like the profit was nice, and actually I ended up losing a lot of money off the venture because I was just like spending. I was like splurging the money on like parties and stuff. But like it was profitable had we been more like
Concise.
concise with like the accounting and stuff. Like it was bringing in like a few $1,000s in revenue every
A month.
Yeah.
Like besides like all the expenses.
Yeah, mine subtracting expenses, it was not making that much profit, but it was bringing a few thousand in revenue per month. But it wasn't about the money, and that's I guess like that's the biggest thing I can say to like, or the biggest thing I can say about what I respect about people who do pursue like creative things that are whether or not it's business or it's like music. It's like you're pursuing it because it's cool. You know, you're like,
Yeah.
hey, I think it's cool, like subjectively, right? And so for us at that time, it was just like crazy cool to be like, hey, we're gonna run an underground casino, and then like hopefully it's profitable too.
Was it profitable for like all of you guys? Like, do you mind if I ask like how many people were involved in like a?
Sure, I just wouldn't give any names, but
Yeah, absolutely.
and it's not like you would know them anyway because they're like all scattered around. Like one of them is now playing like poker professionally, actually. Like he's actually making a living like full time. And then like everyone kind of went their own separate ways. But there was like 3 people. There were like 3 investors, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had like maybe 5 people who were like trained as blackjack and poker dealers on rotation, and like managers and stuff. So It's not like a huge operation, you know.
So like so the revenue you guys bring in, you split them around like all the 8 peoples.
Yeah, we split based on like the equities. We just like ran it like a business. So like let's say I put up 5K and someone puts up 10K, then they get like 66%, like a 33%, right? So you just do like an equity split.
I see.
Yeah, so that's how we ran it, and it was only for a few months. It was cool, and the most important part was that it was fun. It was just like it was
Sounds really cool, huh?
interesting experience, but it was just like crazy cool.
Would you still jump in like if you didn't like?
Would I still do it today?
Yeah, if you
No.
would you still do it like if
No.
it doesn't make as much money as you think?
No, I would not do that. That's illegal.
I see.
That was like that was what I did when I was like a lot younger, because I was like,
Don't know anything.
yeah, or it's not that. Well, that's true too. Like I would say like I didn't know much at all at the time, but it was just like I don't know. I was like more reckless. Like now it's like you wouldn't do stuff like that because you go to jail. You know, so like back then it was like whatever, it's not a big deal. But when you're older and you have like more responsibilities and like kind of different pursuits, like more like grounded pursuits, like you're not gonna take like really reckless risks like that. Maybe we take like financial risks, right? Like that's okay. Like I would still take risks with businesses because like I enjoy doing that, you know.
You really enjoy that process, right?
I like taking risks. Like honestly.
Sounds like gambler, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just kind of a. I wouldn't say gambler. I would say like
Risk taker.
yeah, calculated risk taker. But when I was younger, I was definitely a gambler. Like when I was 19 to like 18, 19, 20, it's definitely a gambler. Like I was just like getting the rush. But as you get older, like you temper that, right? You kind of like become more moderate. So definitely more calculated.
Was that like your first business model, like formally thing that you made money on?
First business. No, Well, like I guess like technically, I don't know if you ever had this like middle school and stuff, but like people would like sell like candy or something.
Oh,
so,
I did
like,
that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like a lot of people
I
did that when they were
I
younger.
believe so I flipped like a so just like a mini sort of my elementary school story.
Yeah.
So like when I was in elementary school, I was going to this boarding school, like a private, like a very expensive private boarding school. Like
Yeah.
everybody in there was like extremely rich.
Uh-huh.
They're like his sons, like a kids of the movie stars and like entrepreneur CEOs.
Yeah.
And then the thing is like we needed to like write into like a certain notebook,
Yeah.
right? And that notebook like the one we have in our school wasn't like good enough.
Okay.
So like I brought one from my local store,
Okay.
and like everybody liked it, and the teacher really liked it. And I said like we're gonna buy this from you,
Yeah.
and it distributed it to our entire class, the entire like
So
this
that's your
grade.
first
Yeah, that was my first thing.
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of kids, and like there was a kid in my middle school who sold this haichu, you know, haichu candy from like Mitsuha.
Oh,
He used to buy like packs of them in wholesale and just like flip them in middle school. We called him. His name was Timmy Tang.
Tammy Tang.
Timmy Tang, right? Like you can't make this shit up, right? But and then we used to call it Timmy Tang candy. That's how it was like branded by him. Like it was just he was just like the
best
supplier.
haichu.
He was just it was haichu. He was just like selling like, man, that's such good candy. But yeah, I remember like selling like some like, you know, candy. Like if I had like extra lunch candy I didn't want, I would flip that. But I think that was like the most like serious like, you know, logistics and operational business that I had was that
The casino.
like poker card. I call it a card room, let's say. Yeah, because it was like rent. It was like really thought out. Like we really had like I didn't want to pull a trigger. It's kind of scary. Like, oh, we're gonna put up like $10,000, $15,000, which is nothing compared to like real restaurants, but that's like a real gamble. You're literally putting 15,000 and you're not sure if this is gonna work. Like this is just your idea, and we just spend nights like talking about, like me and the partners would be like, okay, what's the best case scenario? We're filled every night, and what's the worst case scenario? No one comes ever, right? Like what's the most that we'll lose? What's the most we can make? And what's like a realistic target? And actually, like based on those estimates, after the few months, we actually hit like the target, like roughly what the target was. But it's nice to like, you know, think out
Experience it.
the model. Well, no, to think through your model beforehand. And we're like, you know what, we're comfortable taking this risk. Like we're comfortable losing this much. Like at least we can sell the furniture, we can sell this. Worst case scenario, we can rent the rooms out for people to live in if like, you know, if like no one's coming to the poker games. So like we had like plan B, C, D, E, F, G, right? But that was fun. That was like a few months. That was only like 6 months actually. That we
Would you
ran it.
consider that as your like a most successful business idea?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh,
Well, it's most successful, like in what sense, I guess, right? Like, I
Like-
think the most successful in like,
most complete, like most
yeah, probably
realistic.
most complete. Probably most complete would be that one.
What's your
and
proudest one? Is it
more-
this one?
I mean, that was, I don't want to say proudest because it's like kind of illicit, but like,
As a business model,
I mean,
as an experience.
that one was definitely like really fun. I like that one a lot. That's why I want to talk about it. I like that one a lot. Like I thought that was really really fun, and it was like kind of the first thing that I tried, and like the fact that it worked was kind of mind blowing to me.
Oh, is that what got you into like economics? Got into business?
No, I was already a business major when I was doing this. Like I was already a business major.
Would you mind? Yeah.
yeah,
come
yeah.
closer.
I'll sit up.
Maybe I'll just move this mic a little bit towards
Yeah,
your
so I
place.
don't block the camera. But I mean now I'm doing the Airbnb hosting, which is like I think is the most like fulfilling or like most wholesome business that I've done.
Alright, so it's also profitable, right?
Yeah, I mean I ran an Airbnb, like I've had an account for like 4 years, but I've probably been doing Airbnb hosting in Silicon Valley for 2 years, and at my peak I managed like 3 units.
3 units.
3
How much
units.
were you charging per unit?
So per bed, basically I take like a 1 bedroom or like a 2 bedroom and I split it up into like 5 bedrooms.
Oh, do you put walls between them, or do you
Yeah,
just use
I
bunk bed?
take like fake walls and I like divide the living room up into like a bedroom.
It sounds like my landlord.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean it's very common. It's very common in Silicon Valley, I think. It's a very Silicon Valley thing to do. But I was charging like at the most I think the most I've ever charged, because I use a software that like automatically price based on like hotel prices and like supply and demand,
Mm-hmm.
and they charge like 1% fee, which is a great business model, by the way. Whoever is running that software company, it's called Beyond Pricing.
Beyond pricing.
We're not sponsored by them. But
Yeah, like
maybe
Beyond
they
Pricing.
should give us
Beyond
some
Pricing,
money
sponsor
after
us. Sponsor us. Beyond Pricing.
Beyondpricing.com, Airbnb, whatever. We shouldn't keep on saying their name. They're not giving us money.
Yeah.
So like I use their software, and at the most, they basically like it's like an API, and they like plug into my Airbnb account, and they'll change my pricing based on demand, right? The most that I've ever charged for a bed was like 100 and something per night for a bed,
I see.
which is like really small. You think about it, it's like the size of this
It's very
room,
cheap.
probably like a quarter of the size of this room.
A quarter size of this
Yeah,
room.
imagine this is probably like 200 square feet.
Is it like
It
a
was roughly
room or
200
just like a
feet.
bed?
Just like a bed. I mean, it's a room. Like, it's a room with a bed in it.
I see.
I mean, all
A
beds
quarter
are
size
in,
of
all
this
beds
room.
are in rooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
A quarter size of
yeah,
this room.
yeah, quarter size of this room, and it was like I got in trouble. So that was actually kind of like under a table too.
I see.
I
So
got
that was
in
like kind of
trouble.
sketchy.
Yeah, but now I'm legit. That actually before coming to this podcast, I was taking care of all the furnishing for like the legit corporate housing.
Alright, so this is your first legit like corporate thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, yeah, I mean, it's like registered and everything is like, you know, I learned my lesson from like not having everything registered. And to be completely frank, maybe I'm just saying this to be like downplaying all the illicit activities that I participated in when I was younger. But if you research all the people who've like built businesses, a lot of people, not everyone's like 100% legit like beforehand, right? Not everyone's like, oh, I have like all my taxes, I have like an accountant and a lawyer, and I'm registered in Delaware as an LLC, and all the equities split up equally. There's always like messy stuff that no one really hears about before, you know, kind of the incubation of the company or like the growth of the company, let's say, right? So currently, I would say like right now, everything, I have my ducks in a row though. Like I have a Delaware corporation.
Like, would you mind share like what kind of trouble you got in for like not having the proper licenses?
Sure, you just get like
Fines?
no, you get like it's against the lease contract. So either the property manager will kind of prohibit you, like they'll send you a warning notice, and if you keep on doing it, then they'll just like evict you. They'll just take you to like eviction court,
I see.
whatever it's called.
So you never really got into trouble. You just
No,
got
no,
warnings.
no. I just got like warnings and stuff, and yeah,
Alright, it's because the camera's overheating a little bit.
Yeah.
We're good.
it's okay. Yeah, so I did it like I had 3 units, and it was like, I mean, I had almost like an 80% occupancy rate, which is like higher than hotels.
I see.
So maybe because it was like cheaper than a hotel, and it was
Okay.
like prime real estate.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that was cool, and I just want to scale it because I just think like, I mean, I really believe in the fact that, or I believe in like the mission,
Of like Airbnb.
not Airbnb, but of like,
Stuff
I wanted like, so this is like my elevator pitch, I guess, or not so much elevator pitch, but this is like the mission statement, which is really just to provide like communal housing, um, and community for people who are relocating to like metropolitan areas
Mm-hmm.
and interns, right?
Oh,
'Cause
just temporary, like a
it's
very
like,
temporary.
think of
thing.
it as like branded temporary housing, right? That's what I'm doing. Like there's a lot of hacker homes, there's your landlord, there's all these landlords that do this, but it's fragmented. There's Craigslist, there's like a bunch of different Airbnb operators. But my plan is to have a network of apartment homes, right? Apartment homes that are divided, and if you're a University of Waterloo intern, or if you're a Deloitte or PricewaterhouseCoopers, or just accounting firm like employee who just got hired fresh out of University of Illinois. You move to Silicon Valley, you don't know anyone, you don't want to sign a year lease, you don't want to buy all the furniture, so you stay with us. You can stay in any of our homes across the Bay Area.
Just pay the money.
Exactly, you just pay a monthly fee, the cleanings are included, the utilities are included, the furnishings included, and you're plugged into a friendship network because all your roommates are also new grads and interns. And we have
I
events
see.
to cater towards them. So that's the idea. It's really like, you can think of it as like WeWork for housing, you know? So it's kind of the sharing economy comes to real estate.
Yeah, I think I heard similar company like doing that.
There's a bunch. I mean, it's a really fast growing space. And to be honest, I don't think there's much that differentiates me, but I think it's a big enough market where like I could at least make like a living off of it.
Mm.
Because I know people personally who make a living off of it. We're good on time.
We have like 27 minutes on the clock.
Oh, okay. So we're okay on time.
Yeah.
But when I first moved to San Jose 3 years back, I moved for a job at a startup. I was working as an engineer there, but my landlord was one of these people who made a full-time living off this. He probably had 10 houses with like 30 people in each
In
house.
Silicon Valley?
Silicon Valley, yeah. He had one in, shout out to Vic, who runs Hacker Home Network around here, but he had houses in Mountain View, San Jose, Menlo Park, San Francisco. He had a Sunnyvale house, Cupertino house. He probably had at least like 7 or 8 houses.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Hacker Home. Yeah, that's exactly it. The one that you're pulling up on the screen. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So he ran this site.
He runs the site. I mean, it's not. Mostly people book through Airbnb, but yeah. I mean, dude, he just travels all the time. Like he literally.
How old is this guy?
He's probably in his 30s. I actually wanted to have him on the podcast too, because he literally just travels all the time. Like he has one guy who manages all the units, cleaners that come automatically, and it's just passive income. And he's literally like probably 60%, 70% of the year. You try to reach him, he's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm in Peru right now." So he's kind of what I guess you would call the digital nomads of this generation, right? The entrepreneurs or the investors who like make the passive income and then just like, maybe they're not trying to scale it and sell it, but they just make passive income on it and then they like travel around to different countries. That's like my aspiration. I think that's really cool. Whoa. It's a really scary sneeze.
Alright, that's really cool. Is this something you want to do like full time?
Yeah, so it's a similar concept. So what you see there at Hacker Home, I mean, hopefully he doesn't take it like offensively that I'm like infringing upon the market, but I was really inspired by that idea. Like coming there, like I'm moving in there, not knowing anyone in San Jose, right? I met a lot of like really great friends that I'm still in touch with today. Like some people moved out of Silicon Valley, but I'm still in touch with them. Some of them were like good friends of mine. And even through my Airbnb, I had met like really close friends that I'm also still in touch with.
That's
So
awesome.
that concept, I think, is really what I find valuable. And that's like the coolness factor that inspires me for this venture at least. Plus, I think it's profitable.
Yeah. So is this something you want to do like even if even like after you graduate,
Yeah, yeah. I would do this.
like as
Like
a
I'm
part
gonna
time
go
job?
all in on it. I literally just like spent so much money at IKEA. It's crazy. I was like looking at the
Oh,
the
is that why you were at
cashier.
IKEA today?
Yeah, I was at the cashier. I was like, oh my god, there's so much money. And the cashier was like, yeah, dude, like you're gonna pay or what? I was like, alright, fine.
What did you do today? Like, what did you buy from IKEA today?
I just bought like enough for like 5 beds. Like it was like 5 beds, like dining room set, and it was like a whole house, just like furnishing a whole house.
So did you buy a house already?
No, I didn't buy a house. That would be really expensive.
So you're
I'd
currently
be
just like.
balling if I bought a house. I
so,
wish I bought a house.
so you're currently just like renting homes.
Yeah, so you lease it and you sublease it,
I see.
which is.
So you modified the house. Is the landlord like okay with it?
There's no permanent modifications.
Oh, it's only
They're
temporary
like
ones.
impermanent dividers, right? So no problems.
How do you market this thing? Because I believe it's very hard to find
I
people.
think it's actually easier than anything else
Mhm.
because I also host events for interns right now. Like I had an event a few weeks ago. We had like 200 people attend, and there's a lot of like intern chats, like Slack groups, or like Group Me, or like there's all these Facebook groups even, and so there's these hubs, and it's easy to just like plug these things in these hubs, and it like disseminates the information very
I
quickly.
see.
Whereas like I think if I wasn't focusing on like a niche, like this is a really concentrated niche, like Silicon Valley interns and new grads between the ages of 18 and 25, right? It's like really specific demographic focus. So if you figure out where they are, you can target them really, really nicely. And once they see the advertising, I think they find it really appealing. Like when you see, it's like when I see ads for like 25-year-old Asian male college students, right? It's like, you're like, oh, you want to click it because it's like so personalized. Like that's good advertising. Is ones that like really hits the niche. Like it's really catered towards you. When you see an ad that just says like, food, right? Like, okay, food, great. Like everybody eats food. That's like 5 billion people are interested in that, right? But like, there's this paradox in marketing, I guess, where like the more people you try to capture, the less impactful it is. So like, you have to find this like fine balance, I guess, because if you're really focused, like you're trying to market to Harvey Sean
Mm-hmm.
or Austin C, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then like you're not going to get enough people because you're only trying to market to one person. So you have to find that middle ground. But I think that interns and new grads are like a really nice,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
size
Especially in the
niche.
Bay Area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see. So how many locations do you have right now? Like set up ones, or like
Right now only one.
what about the ones you're working on?
What do you mean?
Like you said, you just bought some new stuff today.
Yeah, so that's the one I'm just furnishing.
Oh,
all
I
of
see. Haven't
Yeah,
finished
yeah,
it.
yeah. So the ones that I've done, so numbers that I pitched for like business competitions and stuff was for my previous Airbnb, which was also like pretty good at generating revenue. So just taking those numbers and extrapolating off of that, I'm taking that to the new place where it's all legitimate and I have like really official numbers.
So
now.
do you own a house, or like are you just like right now renting yourself,
No,
like
it's-
personally?
Yeah, it's lease and then sublease.
So you're like living with your like
Yeah,
customers.
yeah. Until like, so the cool thing about this complex is they are like, oh, we'll give you as many units as you want. It's just a matter of capital. My limiting factor is capital right now, because I could be like, oh, let me get 6 units, and it would be crazy cool, right? It's basically running like a mini hotel out of their property, out of their like apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the capital because that would be just in furnishing costs. That'd be at least like $40,000, right? And then plus the leases, each lease is like $3,000 a month. Unless I don't fill any of them, then I inherit the liability of $6,000 to $18,000 a month in payments. So I just can't take that risk.
I see. So you
Yeah.
have to find the customers.
Yeah. So if things start working out for this one unit, then I'm gonna push it like really hard and just go like 3 units January, and that works out for the next 6 months. Then we're gonna try to do like 5 more units or 6 more units, right? And at that point, actually, based on my numbers, if everything hits target, I can make a living off 6 units actually.
So you're gonna.
Like, I could travel. Like I could literally just go around and travel on 6
Do you mind like
units.
share that number?
Sure. I mean, roughly each unit, the profit is not a lot. It's really slim margins. So that's why I think if I don't hit the numbers that I need for this unit, then this business probably won't work. But If all the numbers of what I assume or predicted are correct, then each unit will bring in about $700 profit
I see.
per month. Per month. So you think about it, you have let's say I'm generous and I have 10 units, then that's like 7K in. I'm not gonna be rich, right?
Yeah.
But and that's why
It's a good passive. It's a good passive income.
it's a good passive income. I could do like other stuff because I would have a manager I pay like two. I could pay a manager $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, and still be making 4K a month. And I literally it's just turnkey, right? Turnkey business.
How would you find a manager like at that point? Because like if the business model is so easy to copy.
I mean, sure, it's easy, but restaurants are easy to copy, right? There's not that big of a barrier of entry. I agree with that, but I mean, you just kind of have to hope that no one else cares enough about, like providing housing to like relocating professionals, you know. Like
So-
you have to care. I think people who do well in business like really care about, you know. Like the only difference is that maybe some people just don't. Either it's not profitable enough for other people to pursue, or most people just don't care about it. Like, I don't know, like designing new garbage trucks, you know? Like, how many people in the world care about garbage trucks, right? Like, maybe only one guy, and then he'll design a new garbage truck, and then he'll be like the monopoly, you know? So I don't think that many people care about, like, new grad housing. Yeah. And I'll just hire, like, somebody from school or one of my, like, classmates.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's a plan.
How much time does it consume you like right now? Because I know you're a student right now.
When I had 3 units, that actually took a lot. I would say like 20 hours a week.
20 hours a week. Oh, that's not very much actually. That's.
But I was going to school full time too,
Oh yeah, that's a
and I
little
was
rough.
working other jobs, so it was hard.
I know you like I know you're an Uber driver as well. Is that like your side job?
I used to drive for Uber in the fall, but now I'm not driving Uber anymore.
I see. So
Yeah.
you like you replace Uber.
Did it explode?
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Oh wow, we have some like we really need to get like a sponsorship now.
Yeah, Uber doesn't make that much money. I mean, really, I'm just going all in on school and the real estate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really real estate, but let's call it rentals. The rentals business. Rental market, yeah. So that's really what I'm going all in on for like these coming months. I'm really trying to be more focused. I think there's I don't know if it's like an entrepreneurial thing or if it's like.
I think it absolutely is because my I know my parents did that because they own like houses and they just like would like modify. They don't purchase like actual houses. They
Yeah,
purchase them mobile homes.
Oh, really? So they have a similar thing. And
Yeah, so like they modify the old mobile homes
Yeah.
and turn into like many different rooms, and then they usually buy like houses around the area, but not very far, but not too close.
Okay.
So somewhere in the middle,
Okay.
and they would modify it, and then
Okay.
like they would like people would come in, and they would just lease it.
Wow. So they do basically more or less the same business.
Yeah, and mobile homes is not really that expensive too, actually.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. And that's what I'm saying. It's not. The cool thing about this business is that it's not like that. It's not risky in the sense that no one's ever done it before, right? Like when Uber first came out, super high risk, super high reward. Now they're a multi-billion-dollar company. No one's ever thought, oh, we could call a taxi with your phone. But this is not like revolutionary. Maybe like a certain things about the branding are revolutionary, or like not revolutionary. I think that's like kind of arrogant to say, but I think they're different. But there's nothing new about rentals. Like rentals have existed since housing existed. But maybe it's just about remixing the branding or remixing like
The process.
the process, exactly the process, right? But overall, like the
Just
whole
save the
package.
customer like a lot of time and their energy.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go
Like
through
maybe
everything.
make it optimize the application flow, or like focus on having events. You know, it's just like you're maybe focusing on different aspects of the same business
Mhm.
model. Like restaurants are not different, but now they have tablets that take your orders. But
Absolutely.
the Russian model is still the same.
So were you inspired by this guy like
Yeah, I was
it
inspired a
Vic?
lot by this guy. Yeah,
Vic Kid, right?
Vic. His name
Vic.
is Vic. Yeah,
Vic.
I was inspired a lot. by
He's a
that.
successor of this like business model.
Yeah, yeah. He's traveling and doing all that stuff, and all these people. There are people who've gotten married who've met in his homes.
Wow.
Just this year, I think they had like 2 marriages. Yeah, I ran into him at a club recently, and I was like, hey, you gotta come on this podcast. But he was saying like, yeah, he hasn't been really growing the business as much because, some people don't care about making $1 million. They just wanna chill. Like he just wants to chill, travel, meet new people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like an entirely viable strategy too. Like for me, I think I'd be comfortable with his lifestyle,
Absolutely.
right? You get the freedom to define your hours, and you get to go anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll
Like
be
I think
a-
he's making at least 6 figures off of his business.
yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, he wouldn't be affording all this.
Exactly, like traveling and
How many homes does he have? Like, by the way,
um,
roughly
roughly at least 7.
7.
He doesn't own all of them. Some of them, like he has like investors who like
I see.
either purchase equity. He has different models. Some of them he just leases and subleases too. Like he might know the owner, and some of them he has like friends who back him, and they'll like purchase the home.
Oh, I see. So like the 7 home, like how many rooms, like roughly?
So
Between,
the
like,
one I
each home?
stayed in, was a 2-story home, and there was like three bedrooms on the first floor,
Mm-hmm.
and there were 2 bunk beds in 2 of the bedrooms. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 people per room. So it was 8 people. There was like 9 people on the first floor, and there was like 10 people on the second floor. So there were 19
Wow.
people in the house. And then there was a guest home in the back that was renovated into a studio that fit 3 people. So it was about like over 20 people per house. And he charged about 1,000. So you just do the numbers. That's
What's the
20K.
location? San Francisco?
No, he has many different locations, but this is the one I stayed in San Jose.
In San Jose.
So that was
$1,000 per
that was
room.
on 10th Street, yeah.
$1,000 per room.
$1,000 per bed.
Per bed. It's
so
shared.
4K per bedroom,
Uh-huh.
and there's like 5 bedrooms. So it's about 20K per month. At full occupancy in the summer, he was making 20K a month.
I see. It must be like a hell of trouble to like just to manage like this many people in like one house.
He has managers, he has cleaners. But think about it, 20K per month in the summer. I mean, in the winter he's probably losing money because there's not that many people renting. But in the summer, let's say he's paying 5K, 7K even in rent for that whole house.
Mm-hmm.
He's making at least 13K in the summers off that one house.
Like
has
exclude all
8
the
houses.
utilities.
What?
Exclude the utilities.
Exclude utilities, but I'm just saying like it's still he's definitely in the 6 figures mark. I think at the least.
What did you say? Like $20,000 per month on that one house, roughly.
Yeah, revenue at peak occupancy. Pretty good. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, if you have like a 3 month, that's like a peak occupancy. That's probably around like 140K.
100. Yeah. Because I know he had a Sunnyvale, Cupertino, Mountain View home is almost always full with Google interns. That was a really nice house. I always go to parties there. And then Menlo Park, he has one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Daly City, he might have one. And there was at least 6 or 7. I've been to a few of them. Like, because sometimes he has like social gatherings, all the guests meet each other and stuff.
I see.
So yeah, I'm very much inspired by the same model. If anything, I'm basically just copying his.
Is everyone just like, oh, I see. So like, how many fridge? Like, do you mind if I ask the detail? Like, how many fridge do they have in the house? Because I know, like in my
One
house,
fridge.
one fridge,
Yeah.
20 people, 19 people.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah. So that just doesn't really make sense to me. Because like
I
19
mean-
people in a house is like like
Just don't buy
It's
them
really-
with groceries.
it's really hard to manage that way.
Yeah, but the second floor, so the San Jose home, they had 2 fridges. There's
Mhm.
one downstairs, one upstairs.
But still, 20 people, 10 people sharing the same fridge.
I know, it's kind of crazy. So that's why my model, I'm banking on the idea that it's different. Because I'm going to try to make it fancier. It's not bunk beds, like just like a little bit classier. You got a pool, you got a gym. So imagine Hacker Home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then compare it to my model. I'm like kind of pitching it to you, I guess. But
Absolutely.
I'm
I
always
mean, do it with
I'm
free
always-
advertisement.
I'm always in pitch mode. But like you look at Hacker Home, you have all these bunk beds, right? You got 4 people, 5 people in a room. For mine, at most you have 3 people per room, right? And you don't have bunk beds. You have like these nice IKEA mom furnitures, like bed frame with a pull-out storage,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all like nicely designed furnishings, and it's only 5 people per apartment. So the differentiating factor is the product, is that it's just a little bit nicer for the same exact price. So my
Mhm.
margins are just way more slim. And how do I compensate for the margin? Like how do I make sure it's filled? Is that my funnel is gonna be better.
Your funnel, your advertisement,
My advertisement funnel.
more direct.
The plan is to reach out to places that have primary exports to Silicon Valley. So you imagine hubs like Boston or hubs like University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, their engineering program, almost all of them end up getting employed in Silicon Valley. So contacting University of Waterloo, University of Toronto, maybe not contacting the administration directly, but catering towards those students specifically, it would, like almost all of them who graduate get jobs here, right? Like Cornell University, you're either gonna go to New York City or you go to Silicon Valley if you're graduating from an engineering program, right? So getting those kids before they even leave the college, that puts that business model.
It's like a humongous advantage.
There's like an edge there, right? There's like a, like I always think in terms of edge. I think there's like an edge relative to
a niche on that, yeah.
There's a niche, yeah, like relative to other operators in the Silicon Valley. So that's what I'm banking on. And then after, if we like publish this, maybe other people will hear this and then just like do the same exact thing, and then my profit will all be gone. But
saturate the market.
Yeah, just saturate the market. But as of right now, that's what I'm banking on. That like the funnel is superior, the product is superior, and if the funnel is superior and the product's superior and the price is the same, then like it doesn't take a genius to figure out that that should be profitable. But my assumptions could be wrong on multiple levels.
Yeah, I mean,
could be a worse product.
Give us like updates, like once you get your first thing.
Yeah,
your first
I mean,
customer
everything we furnished, like all the listings are going live Wednesday. And I fly out to Israel, and my roommate's gonna manage the listings.
I see.
But I'll be out of the country for a few days, but all the listings should be live on Wednesday.
You already sound like a successor.
I wish, yeah, I wish. It's just that like I have like a trip planned, like it was like planned from a few months ago, but I just have to get all the everything in place before.
To where?
Israel.
Oh, I see. It's like personal related or like business related?
I'm converting to Judaism.
You're what?
Converting to Judaism.
I never heard about that. All right.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not converting.
We're switching out the battery right now.
Okay, sure. We can keep on talking, because people won't have. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just keep talking.
No, I'm just going. It's a school trip.
It's a school trip.
Yeah, it's a school trip.
This school trip.
Yeah, San Jose State sponsored.
They manage like this kind of trips.
Yeah, it's like
A program.
It's a program. It's like a program I found out about. Yeah.
What is it called? I'm interested.
Look up Spartans to Israel.
Oh, yeah. Is it like another country? Like
What do you mean? Israel is another country, yes.
Yeah, no, like another country. Okay, Spartans like I thought it was like a traveling thing, something.
I'm actually not really sure, but yeah, I honestly just follow along. Someone was like, "Hey, Austin, you want to do this thing?" And I was like, "Sure." I mean, it's like, no, that's not it. What do you pull up there?
This is the AI one.
Yeah, that's an artificial intelligence.
Israel and Spartan, right? Sparta.
No.
Spartan.
Spartans to Israel. Look up San Jose State. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, SJSU. Spartans for Israel. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked because that's not like business related, but I'm going there for a few days.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on now, and I mean, all I can hope for is that it works out. Like, it's just always kind of a struggle, you know? People always joke about the starving artist, right? What are you looking at?
No, keep going.
You're just like scrolling on the screen. No, I'm just saying, like, it's just funny how, oh my god.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
Our studio is falling apart.
Yeah, it's
going good, though.
like
we're okay.
our quality is at a level we need sponsorships.
No, we're doing good. We're doing good so far, I think. But what was I saying?
I was asking you that.
Oh, what? I have bad short-term memory.
I was like, you said something to me, but I was scrolling.
Oh, I was saying the starving artist like trope, right? There's like this stereotype cliche, right? Of a starving artist. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, like photographers and artists.
Yeah, like people are like, oh, I'm a starving artist, like, I don't make money. But I think there's also like a starving. I think that's true for anyone who's like hustling, who's like trying to create, right? There's an entrepreneur like Elon Musk slept under his desk when he was building Zip2, his first software company. and just like
He still does that. He's still stuffing Tesla now.
he's crazy. So
Yeah, he's
You know?
I know my friend who work in Tesla, and she saw him like sleeping on the floor
wow.
in Tesla.
Did she take a Snapchat? She just took a snap of
I
it.
don't know. I'm not gonna ask her that.
You're not allowed to. My buddy worked for Tesla, and he like used to. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but you're not allowed to take a photo. It's like a rule when you get onboarded at Tesla. Like you're not supposed to take videos of Elon because it's like people want to all the time. Like, oh look, it's me and Elon Musk. Like you're in the office and you're just like taking a selfie. And he still did it. Like I would open my Snap and I would just see him like
ready to
it's
get
like
quit.
shaky, like it's like really fast. You just see like the phone like shaking, and you just like, yo, it's Elon, and you just see like a guy like back of his head. He's like walking past his office.
I'm ready to get fired.
Yeah, like it's just funny. I think like people want to take shots of Elon, but yeah, he's kind of like all those guys have been through that hardship, but I don't think that. I think it's a fallacy to assume that if you've been through hardship, that you will become successful.
You're still gonna be in hardship.
Yeah, what I mean is like, I think everyone has to go through hardship to be successful, but not everyone who goes through hardship is successful.
Absolutely.
Right? So there's like some Latin fallacy that I can't think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's
That's a great quote.
what? Which quote?
And then when you said like
Yeah. I mean,
how
but
about
there's a
how about let that to be our like the sentence of the day.
sentence of the day. I don't
Yeah.
remember what I said. What does the play back?
Oh, you said like something like
No,
no,
yeah.
not everyone go through hardship. Like be successful.
Yeah, well, I said everyone. I think generally everyone who is successful goes through hardship.
Yeah.
But not everyone who goes through hardship is successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like it is a fallacy. I just can't think of a name. There's all these like fallacies, right?
Yeah.
Like logical errors, and there's a fallacy that goes like, I think of like the Wikipedia example, but I can't think of the name of it. It's like ergo prop something, some Latin shit. The Latin
Right.
people are so smart, but it's like if the rooster crows and the sun rises after, but the rooster doesn't cause the sun to rise.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
I
just
get
so
that.
happens that the sun. Well, actually, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Let's forget what I said.
I have.
The
I have
first thing I
something
said
similar
was
to it,
right.
yeah. All right. Why
Yeah.
don't we stop like over here? Cause
Sure. Yeah. I think
I
we've
think
run
we're
out of
done
time.
with the like business part.